That's fine.
All right, welcome to LightSaber Radio. Sorry for the brief technical difficulties. Kyle will be right here. He's having a little tech problems as well. But we are so excited to be with you today for another outrageous Star Wars episode. Today we're going to be talking about CJ's great idea, Star Wars, that's the bottom line. We're probably getting into some pretty hot takes. And of course, Kyle is going to go into a giveaway that we're going to be having for one lucky fan out there. And as well, just like always, we're going to have the Hothbreaker and the Star Wars quiz. So sit back, relax, and let's drop that intro for another episode of this outrageous Star Wars podcast.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Last we will reveal ourselves.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. If you only knew the power of gods.
Let's go.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
Hello there, indeed.
Hello there. Sorry for the delay. How's everyone doing today?
I'm here.
I'm still nasally.
You're here?
I'm here.
You good? CJ does not seem too happy. I do want to get into – okay, so before the show even started, Star Wars team leader had a comment that I do want to read. He goes, have to thank one of the guys in my group for pointing out this wasn't the Moff Gideon that died in the last episode of Mando. It was one of his clones. He had a mustache in season 1 and 2, and none of his clones in the takes had mustaches. And when he was fighting, his mustache was gone. Okay.
That would explain the enhanced strength, because we were all thinking he had an Iron Man suit on. But if
you could hear it.
Just But at the same time, if you really look at the armor in his hand when he grabs Bo-Katan's hand, it's not robotic. They're not Beskar hands. They're gloves.
Yeah, I don't know. I also think razors exist in the Star Wars universe, so.
That's what I was gonna say. He could have just shaved it off.
So I don't know.
I think it might be a clone. I really do.
That'll be so lame, dude. Just let people die.
I mean, it would be lazy writing. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of tired of seeing Moff Gideon.
But let's be honest.
We didn't see him until what?
There was a lot of lazy writing this season. I mean, you disagree with that, but I think there was some lazy writing.
There were some spots that lacked, but I don't think it was lazy. I think it was just we didn't get a full John and Dave experience, with Dave doing Ahsoka. We didn't get Dave's mind in this until the last 2 episodes.
I don't know, because the last 2 episodes were like one of the better ones, but they still weren't like great. To me, it just seemed like too little, too late. But I digress. We're beating that. I mean, we might as well talk about it, actually. What's up? Darth Akari is also in the chat. Star Wars team leader. Yeah, so.
Where the hell is everybody?
I think it was because we started late, to be honest, but that's okay. Kyle is having some tech difficulties, which is unusual for Kyle because usually he's the tech guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Normally when his shit goes haywire, it really goes haywire.
Yeah. That's true. All right. Should we just get into Hothbreaker?
Sure. If you'd want
Just
to.
fuck it. Sure. Oh, there he is.
Hey. No.
What's up, pal? What's up? How you been?
He can't talk.
Oh, I see. His mic is effed up. All right.
Did you
well,
try turning it off and turning it back
yeah,
on
turn it on and
again?
turn it off again. That would have
You
worked.
try
with the
unplugging it, letting it sit for 30 seconds, and then plugging it back in. Fucking stupid internet technicians. If you unplug it, give it 30 seconds, and then plug it back in, it'll fix it. No, I think you guys have something going on with your computers over there.
Yeah, I already
And when
tried
I
that.
unplug
Push the button.
I
That
think
was
you
like the
screwed
first
me.
thing I tried.
I think this is how you get me to buy a better package through your internet services. You press a button and it starts lagging everything out. Yeah, I see. There's a game
Seriously,
being
though.
played.
Calm down, Apple and Elon Musk.
There's a game being played. I know it
No,
is.
dude, I flipping hate it. It's so annoying. It is so annoying. Turn off, Danya-san. Dude. But then, like, after you do turn it off, like, because you've already tried that before you call.
But
And then you call and they're like,
you
well,
do
let's
it, and
try it
works-
again. Yeah.
And
works
then it
perfectly.
works perfectly. It's like,
Or
no,
it still
you-
doesn't, and they realize, oh shit, there actually is an internet outage. And be like, oh great, thanks for letting me know now that I've been on the phone with you for 20 minutes. You told me to turn it on and
Right.
turn it off again.
Made me feel like I was stupid and it was really your problem.
IT stands for idiot talking. I don't know. Oof. No, I agree. Yeah.
Hot
Okay, so
take.
Kyle's having some problems. Let's get into the Hothbreaker. All right, this Hothbreaker was Kyle's idea. Let's be honest. He was in the chat. All right, if you just found out right now that you had the ability to mind trick people, what's the first thing you would do? Jedi
become
mind
rich.
trick.
I
I mean,
have
you're
Elon
not
Musk.
like it's not like godly level, but it's like it'll
Enough.
work on like stupid people. You know what I mean? Just like in the movies. It's not going to work on someone who's like super smart or whatever, but it'll work.
I'd go to the dumbest person in a company and tell him to sign his rights over to me.
I mean, there's a lot of dumb people. I feel like you could get rich
Yeah.
pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I
think-
think I abuse the power for my benefit at this point.
I think Kyle would use it for hookers. I'm sorry. I just think that's the case. I'll get that out of the way for Kyle right now. For those of you that
gotta
are
be
missing him, he's going to
specific.
use that.
Twi'lek.
Twi'lek. But there's no Twi'leks in the real world. This is like real world. You get the power to mind trick.
Yeah,
people.
no, he would get someone to dress up as one.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. His wife would be dressed up as a Twi'lek. Although I
You'd
think his
mind
wife
trick
would be
her
too
to
smart
watch
for
Star Wars with him and enjoy it.
that. What about you, Tori? I reckon you'd be mind tricking your kids.
Oh God, for bedtime. Oh, for bedtime. Oh,
You
I
are
didn't even
sleepy.
think about that.
You are very
Cass has
sleepy.
been having a problem friggin' sleeping, so I
Yeah,
so
Cass
abused
is
it.
going through a fun sleep regression.
Sleep regression. What do you mean?
So kids have sleep regressions where they usually have one around newborn, and then they have them at like I think it's 18 months, and then the last one they'll have is at 2 years old, where their bodies will just say, "Hey, this is the usual time that we go to sleep, but fuck that."
Oh, we're not tired.
Or we'll wake up 14 different times during the night. Yeah, it's fun. Sleep regression is
crazy.
basically God's way of saying "fuck you" to parents.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's crazy because kids, like, even when they're tired, they don't recognize it as tired. They recognize it as being a little brat.
Well, that's
Yeah.
you get, and
That's
I mean
awful.
everybody gets cranky when they're tired. Kids just don't recognize it, and then they get
Yeah,
overtired, and
exactly.
that's when the temper tantrums come.
Yeah. Me, it's like I recognize it pretty quick. I was like, oh, I'm sleepy. Let's go to bed. But
I
Dang.
I do too. But
My
I
kids
have a
are good.
person
I
here
just
that
know.
doesn't like to sleep. Damn.
do your kids get hangry too?
Oh
Yeah.
God.
That's my thing, dude. I get hangry,
No, it's bad.
especially when
Like,
I'm cutting.
especially like Cass, he'll get hangry and then we'll be like, okay, cool, do you want something to eat? And he's like, no! And so we're like, okay, well, maybe he's not hangry. And it goes for another like 30
Nope,
minutes.
nothing, Kyle.
It'll go for another
Garrison
like
being
30
the easy
minutes
child.
before I sit down with like my own snack, and Cass will walk up and like put his grubby little hand on it and be like, bite. I offered you food like 30 minutes
Now I'm
ago.
hungry. Now you got me hungry. And Lenny, I was the easy child. I was the oldest. I was the favorite. Well, no, I was not the favorite. My sister was the favorite. But
I was the
I
middle
did pretty
child, I was
good.
hated.
Yeah, that's rough.
There's two middle children. We were both we now as our parents look at the oldest and the youngest, they realize that they are fucking worthless.
That's not bad.
Dev has gotten better since Jessica, but before Jessica,
You do realize that your brother watches
Yes,
this, right?
I know he does, and listens to it, and he can hear me say this. Devion, before Jessica, you were a worthless cockhat.
Damn.
You
Shots
sucked
fired.
at everything. You were the worst big brother. And then you got with Jessica, and it was like, hey, family's important. I need to pay attention to my family. And that's when things got better for you.
Oh, my sister-in-law's gonna call me.
Hey, being the oldest has its privileges. Being the middle is rough, but being the oldest is great. Well,
I'm the
it's great and it
youngest.
sucks at the same time because your parents are harsh on you
Well,
more
because
than any other sibling.
out of my dad's kids, I'm the oldest. But out of like all four of my mom's kids, because my mom had two different sets, being the middle child is horrendous.
What are you guys, collector cards?
Yeah, to my mom. We're collector
She had
cards
two
for-
first, then she traded for two more.
But no, it's not a bad thing.
What about you, Tori? Where do you fit in?
The youngest.
I'm the youngest.
Oh,
but
you're the favorite.
No, I
She's
am
a
not.
spoiled-
No, I am
Youngest
not.
daughter? Really? Usually
I
the
am
youngest daughter is
not.
like adored.
No, my older brother is actually he's
He's
the
the
baby.
star child.
So I actually am the youngest of 8.
Oh, yeesh.
So my mom had
Yeah.
4 from a previous marriage, and then my dad had 3 from 2 previous marriages. They got together, had me. Okay. Well, my oldest sibling is 17 years older than I am, and my youngest sibling is 10 years older than I am. And then my oldest nephew is 4 years younger than I am. So I was always in that weird spot. So I was overlooked a lot.
Yeah. You were like so young the parents were like beat down and like the children had beaten them into submission where they're like
Well,
I don't care anymore.
Yes, but also at the same time, like I wasn't old enough to be like a daughter, but I was
Right.
too old to be a granddaughter. So I was in that little weird
Yep.
gray area where none of my interests were my interests. They were always somebody else's.
That was my dad. My dad was like the youngest, but he was like at the age where the parents had like, you know, they're old, so they don't really want to parent anymore, but they're not like quite grandparent anymore.
Yeah.
So you just
my
kind of
mom
get
was
like
42
you're the kid
when
under the
she had me.
stairs.
I am Harry Potter. It's fine.
Yeah, that was my
My
dad.
mom was 42 when she had me.
I don't know. My mom sucked. I'm just gonna say it. We're doing hot takes today. I'm gonna start doing some personal hot takes.
Low-key,
mom
this
was
is
great.
the one that your mom actually
And
watches.
my mom watches it. She can hear it. She wasn't the greatest mom, and she still isn't. Like, and
My mom
I
was
don't
great.
fault her for that. I don't fault her for that because, you know, you go through 3 divorces and a lot of shit. I don't expect you to be anything less. Like,
I adore my mother.
I love your mom. Your mom's fucking awesome.
All right, let's get into the topic for today. CJ, you want to explain a little bit? That's the bottom line.
Okay, so this is my topic. I was sitting here and I got bored and I started watching some old wrestling videos, and Stone Cold says that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. And I was like, I wonder if that's something that's been talked about. The bottom line of Star Wars. Like, my hot take is the bottom line, and it's because I fucking said so. And I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling and I'm like looking at people like talking about stuff, and I'm like, a couple people have done some hot takes, but at the same time,
Oh, that's a hot take, Darius.
that is a
That
hot
is a
take.
hot take.
Way to go! Wow, Darius, you came in. I hadn't even explained what we
I'm
were doing
sorry.
today.
I'm
So
sorry.
wing it.
What planet is fucking Book of Boba Fett better than Star Wars Episode 3? There's no way.
Yeah.
Well,
But if you're comparing it to like the sequels, yeah, I can see that. Most of the TV shows are better than the sequels. I'd agree with that.
but pretty much it's a hot take episode. We're all gonna have our 3 to 5, depending on how we feel, opinions on what we think, and that's the bottom line. when Kyle ever shows up.
Like, one of mine is R2 was really the chosen one. He carried the entire show.
R2 is the chosen one.
He was.
That is the dumbest hot take ever.
R2's the chosen one.
A tray.
And Sabers, and he was an overall badass. Nobody fucked with R2. And if they did, they got zapped.
Or lit
The
on
cho-
fire.
Oh,
All right,
he
so
did.
that's the one we're talking about. R2 is the chosen one.
He just
I can see that,
burned
dude. He's the
through
trooper,
people.
dude. While Anakin was like mentally breaking and turning evil, R2 just kept chugging along
He did,
until
and
the sequels where he turned himself off.
Okay, listen.
He gave up. R2 gave up.
No, R2 is the real ride or die because he knew where Luke was, and he's like, hey, fuck these people. They're not going to get shit out of me. I'm going to go to sleep and take a very well-deserved nap for like 30 years.
He
'Cause I've
gave
been a
up,
part of
dude.
Three,
I wish
been
I
a
could
part
enter
of 3
hibernation.
galactic wars, damn it.
And he had to deal with Anakin Winebag Skywalker. He deserved a nap.
He deserved a nap. That would be kind of cool to go into like hibernation like that and just wake up later.
You just wake up. Oh yeah, by the way, I have a map.
He's like, fuck all you. I'm taking a nap. Y'all can get this when I'm ready. When I'm ready. I've been following you. I've been taking your orders. You've led me into the biggest, nastiest piles of shit. Nobody ever listens to the droid, but the droid saves everybody. I'm taking a fucking nap.
It's fair.
I don't think he's the chosen one. I really don't.
You
I
don't think he's the
good,
chosen
I
one?
think he's a good sidekick.
I mean, it's a nice thought, but I just can't
Go
take it
wash your mouth
seriously.
out with soap.
He's a great sidekick.
Yeah, I don't know. I think C-3PO is more of a chosen one. He can speak. I'm just kidding.
And the Ewoks think he's
I'm
a
just.
god.
That's true.
3PO is just.
R2 wasn't a god to anybody.
Yeah, I know. He was just a droid, but the Ewoks think that 3PO is a god.
3PO saved
They have a fucking
Anakin.
shrine for him
Yeah.
in Lego Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
there's a literal shrine on Endor.
3PO
for him.
saved Luke, Leia, Han Solo. Like, he saved all of them.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times now.
3PO has also gotten saved in the Star
And he
Wars
spoke
universe
Sith.
more than anything.
And he's, yeah, I gotta agree with Garrison. And he spoke Sith.
R2 didn't do that shit.
R2 wouldn't do that shit.
R2 wasn't a snitch. R2 knew snitches got stitches. 3PO was just walking around like, oh dear, oh my, oh dear, I don't think this is a good idea. Oh no, oh
Although-
no.
Because it wasn't a good idea. The
Dude,
man
I-
was speaking truth. Hey, let's go do this sketchy ass thing that could lead to death.
And R2 was like, here, bitch, hold my beer and watch this shit.
Yeah, but
Although I do wish I could have understood what R2 was saying. I would.
oh yeah,
kill-
and Darius pulled up a good point. R2 doesn't go on 2. He's back and do some cool shit either. Yeah, yeah.
R2 didn't need to be saved by
Yeah,
a woman.
R2 moves himself around.
R2 saves his damn self.
Although, I would kill to hear what R2 is actually saying. Like, if he spoke English.
Oh,
Okay, if you
Just
listen
that
very
sassy
if you
motherfucker.
listen very carefully to the scenes and everything, like yeah, they're all boops and beeps, but you could tell what he's saying.
I know. You can kind of tell the tone of what he's saying, but I
Oh,
don't want to
yeah.
know exactly what he's saying. All right, what's your bottom line, CJ? Do we just go one at a time, or how does this work?
yeah. We're gonna go one at a time. So depending on how many you have, how many would you guys like to do here? That's the real question. We didn't really get to talk about that because we were all having problems here this morning.
Let's go
do we
3,
like?
and then
Let's
if
do
Kyle
3.
doesn't join, we'll do 5.
Okay, my hot take: the Mandalorians are the greatest culture to live in Star Wars.
Yeesh. Okay, by that you have to define what makes something a great culture.
They have.
And
Wait,
what
hold on.
era?
Because, like,
All of it.
where the fuck are they? The whole planet got fucked. Like, obviously they weren't the greatest when they're almost extinct. That was funny.
Okay. All the eras, for starters. They have fought against and with Sith. They have fought against and with Jedi. They told the Republic, new and old, to fuck off, leave our planet alone. We are an independent planet. They knew when shit was getting tough with the Empire to join the Empire. And then when they didn't like it, yes, they did get blown up, but they didn't die. They dispersed and came back, which we just saw, and took their planet.
A lot of them still died.
What, tell me.
A lot of them
tell
still
me
died.
what
There's not that
species-
many
hold on.
left.
Yeah, there's not. But tell me what planetary system will ride a giant ass fucking creature into battle to destroy? And if the Jedi wouldn't have interfered.
Bane did. He rode a dragon.
Bane doesn't count. Bane was a different breed of Sith. He was Sith. He was not. There's nothing to Bane but Sith. That's what makes me laugh when people are like, Bane is an alright Sith. I'm like, do you not understand everything is centered around what Bane wanted?
Bane was gangster.
Ew.
He was the G.
They always just get bummed after a crusade and spend centuries rebuilding. They literally never sided with the Jedi.
Yes, they
Yeah.
did.
Darius, coming for you.
Darius, yes, they did. Season 7 of the Clone Wars.
I don't know,
they did
dude.
Ahsoka to go after Maul.
Yep, and they were willing to take Obi-Wan and Anakin also. But they got Ahsoka in the 332nd to defeat a Sith.
To me, though, like, can you really be like one of the greatest civilizations of all time if you're constantly getting your ass whooped?
Okay,
I
but
mean, look
hold
at
on.
Rome, though.
Hold on.
Rome was the best of the best.
And they whooped ass for
And they
thousands of
still-
years.
Yeah, and they still fell. Every
Yeah.
civilization is going to fall at some point.
I agree with that.
Kyle's having technical difficulties, Lenny. But think about it. Where are the Jedi at this point? Well, you have 2 or 3. They're afraid to start They're afraid to start a Jedi Order.
Wait,
Mandalore
what?
still survive. Well, think about this. At season 7 of the Clone Wars, when Order 66 happened, what happened? All the Jedis except for 3 or 4 died that we know of, right?
Right.
Okay. Where's Mandalore? Still fucking alive.
Well,
Rebuilds.
At that
to
same
conquer.
point, though, you still need to answer the question: what makes a great civilization?
They never die.
So never dying.
Their civilization.
Then
will
the
never
Sith
die.
are the best.
Not really.
Why?
Because there's only 2 Sith. Their ideals are flawed.
They're not
There
dying,
are
though.
many, hold on. There are many Mandalorians, but there are only 2 Sith.
Yeah. But you said not dying. It doesn't matter the number. You just said not dying.
So much more than the Mandalorians. Yeah, but the Jedi still fell.
And they're rebuilding by your logic.
I don't know. I don't know if I can
You
get on
came
board.
in swinging
Like, they're
with
a great
R2's the Chosen
civilization.
One. I don't think you have
What
an
about
argument.
fucking like
It
Coruscant
was
thing?
also like
Just regular
slightly
people.
a joke.
What's
The,
like?
the Jedi literally never fall. What?
What?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they technically kept surviving by that same lot. Like Mandalore kept surviving, so did the Jedi. So I mean, it's no different. I think the best civilization is just the regular people that don't get involved in this shit.
Yes.
I just think the Mandalorian culture is one of the greatest cultures.
So
Rich in
Mandalorian.
history. They're rich in history. They're warriors. They're not afraid of anything. They're willing to take on any battle, whether they're Force users or just an empire. They don't want to be diplomatic. They just want to be left the fuck alone half the time.
Me too.
Jedi go out and try to peacekeep, and they call it like the prime example, the Clone Wars. I get that they were trying to stop an oppression of the Separatist faction. I get that. But at the same time, you went to planets and are like, hey, this may happen at your planet. knowing damn well you going there is going to piss off the Separatists, and then a war happens on that planet.
I mean, they
Hey.
weren't wrong, though. It might have happened.
It
Might.
would have happened. It would have happened. Come on, like
They were just proving themselves proving themselves correct.
Darius, the Jedi dog should, to be fair, fuck the Republic. Me and my homies fuck with the Confederacy.
I think,
Confederacy of Independent Systems.
dude, the new
fucking
fucking Republic is shit.
The New
God,
Republic is
I
dog
hate
shit.
the new Republic
Hot
so
take,
much.
The
Let's do that one.
worst.
Do we want to take that hot take in? Because I think a lot of people
Fuck,
are
sure,
excited.
that's mine. The new Republic is trash.
Accurate.
It is
like,
probably the trashiest
so
thing
bad.
I've seen. Like the first Republic, when Palpatine was in rule, was 30 times
Yeah,
better
bro.
than what we got.
Palpatine raised a better democracy than the New Republic.
Yeah, that was more of a democracy.
And he was a totalitarian. Like, what?
Bro, yeah, that new Republic is dog shit.
It is complete garbage. I think that it is literally the Empire with a different logo.
Yeah,
A lazier,
hold
hold on. A
no,
lazier empire with a different logo.
Nah,
They're
'cause-
so lazy.
The Empire was like, let's be honest, the Empire was like fascist, okay? But the New Republic is like communist. So it's like pick between those two evils.
What do you mean they had no resources? They took over Coruscant. They had everything.
They had everything.
They took over everything. They even had former Imperial officers rehabilitating, which we all know, watching Mando, that ain't going to happen for very long. They're just laying low until the Empire decides to strike its head back up again.
Yeah. Now after Galactic War, they have to rebuild, but it doesn't. No. I'm talking by strictly their policies alone. They were shitty. They had all this galactic empire data, right? And they're just
they're
throwing
burning
it
it.
away.
They're
just
burning it.
throwing it away. So you can't
literally
complain.
have-
Yeah, you can't complain that we have no resources when you're just throwing it away.
You know who also burned resources and burned knowledge? Fucking Hitler.
Hitler did.
Also, the New Republic is fascist. Then
Biden's nephew. Long live the Empire. I bet.
that sounds fitting. Yeah.
Biden's nephew.
That seems
That's a
right with
name.
somebody with a name like that.
How's that money coming in, huh?
Ah!
How's that inflation looking? No.
Okay, but yeah, New Republic dog shit. But I think Dave, have you seen? I know we're not in news, but like, did you see what Dave said about the New Republic? How he's like basically flipping it, and they're the new empire. Like,
Yes.
so the New Republic is the bad guys.
Well, we saw that. That was very apparent when Carson Teva went to go get support
Right.
for Grief Karga. It was like, well, they're not a part of the New Republic, so I don't think we can really help them. That's just lazy. It's fucking lazy. Help them, and then you can push and be like, hey, we helped you guys. Do you guys now want to join? Since we kind of use some of our resources, you could always have these resources. No. We don't help people without them helping us. That's very shitty. I'm just gonna say that's very shitty.
I get it, but not if you're like trying to get people to join your republic. You can't just be going around saying like, "Oh, we're not going to help you because you're not part of us yet." What?
Right.
How are you supposed to have control? I think that's where Palpatine didn't like fall very fast. It was he went in, knocked on the door, and was like, "Hey, you're part of us now. Suck it up," and kept moving.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, I didn't give you an option. Like, and your ruler's dead, by the way. We appointed a new one. He's a part of my command. What's yours? You got another one?
What happens in real life? Darius says, "Yes, you can." That's literally exactly what happens in real life. What? Whatever. All right, Tori. I think it's your turn again, right?
I write things down and then I forget to write things down.
You forgot that you wrote things down?
Yeah, that. Large countries or organizations denying aid to those who are not within their country or organization.
Yeah, and I think that's bull crap and very poor of people.
Oh,
who
no,
I
no,
think we
no.
should all take care of
So,
each
like,
other, but
the way I see it different is this new republic is trying to like be in charge of everyone, but like denying, like you can't like actively try to get someone to join you and then say we're not going to help you. You know what I mean?
they
But
just
I
want you to
understand
join.
like countries not helping other countries because sometimes like if countries aren't even in a position to help themselves, how can they be expected to help others? You know what I mean? Like I don't
That's
think
when
countries
that's-
are obligated to help other people.
No,
You know what I
I
mean?
don't think so. But at that point, though, if you help somebody who is down on their luck, whatever, that can put them in a position where they can help you in the future. And help isn't always like
Potentially.
It's not always.
But like
The exact help that you give them is the exact help you're expecting out of it, or the exact help
Right.
that they can give. They could save your life in ways that you could possibly not even imagine. If I go and help a homeless dude, buy him lunch, buy him, a hospital room, a hotel room, like all of that. Somebody comes outside and tries jumping me or whatever, this big dude could come out and be like, hey, you saved me from the streets. I'm gonna fuck this person up for you. Oh, by the way, I was that person you put in a hotel room. And then bam, there you go.
You watch too much TikTok.
well, I just think like it can get because at the same time, like, all right, so then we should have been in Vietnam, for example. Like that's one example. Like we should have gone and fought in Vietnam. When a lot of people disagree with that, you know what I mean? So it's like I think it just depends. You know what I mean?
I think internal power struggles need to keep to themselves. Like if North and South, kind of stuff. Like if we're having something here, it's our problem. If they're having something there, that's their problem. It's when like World War II is an example of us going out and having an aligned front to take care of the rest of the world because Hitler's plan was to take over the world. Now, not just a small section, it was the whole world. He was attacking multiple countries, multiple people. But North and South Vietnam fighting each other is a whole different ballgame. But it's fine.
Well, by that same logic, then America should have never been a country because France helped us. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
we
So
can hear
I think it
Kyle.
depends on a whole.
Can
bunch
y'all
of
hear
shit.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
It sounds like shit though, huh?
It sounds
A
terrible.
little bit.
Yep.
Like, so bad.
Like
your
you
hot
are
take, though?
in a wind tunnel type thing.
Yeah, it's because I have to use the mic off of the
What
camera.
happened?
I don't know.
happened?
For some reason, my audio is just not working. It doesn't want to work. I don't know why. It's just doing weird shit.
Skinny, you go.
Sad.
So it
All
is
right.
what it is. I have to do. I'll see what I can do when it's done.
Yeah, my problems with the New Republic aren't the fact that it's not helping like random countries, because I understand like sometimes your country kind of has to worry about yourself. You know what I mean? And you
Tried to
can't,
cord
like,
Lenny.
it's the same as the Jedi, right? Like it's not my problem. Why are we meddling in it? It's the Jedi. You just got mad at them for meddling in other people's affairs. So, I mean, same thing with countries.
Yeah.
So I think it just kind of depends.
She can't come up with one. I got one.
All right, go for it.
You know.
We got Darth Vader over here.
I know, right? Thrawn is overrated.
Why would I not like that? I don't know.
Thrawn is overrated. I mean, I don't have
All
much
the
to say
hype.
on that. I haven't like read all of the Thrawn books, so I need a little bit more information before I like jump into
I
that.
think
you know
a
what
lot
I mean?
of what Thrawn is nice. I love his character, don't get me wrong. But I feel like the hype around him is too overrated.
Well, Thrawn could be.
I mean, I would agree with that, but
Thrawn could be. good. It could be bad. My problem with Thrawn is how he figures things out. Like, really, you just look at some fucking, some paintings, and you can figure out how to beat people out because there's too many. Like, if he came to this world, there's so much different art. How would he be able to figure it out?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, in Star Wars, that's one of the things that's a little bit weird. Is like planets are very homogenous in Star Wars. Like one planet will have like one culture. One planet is basically one country in Star Wars, and so it's just different than like here. You know what I mean?
But you would have different Star Wars characters that are in a, in every culture. So everybody's not going to paint the same. And how does that apply to like the military, how the military works? An artist is not thinking like the military.
That I agree with that. I think that's why to me is overrated. Yes, we only saw him in one series, but we have multiple books on him, and the fact that he can look at a painting, like prime example, you looked at Sabine's paintings and like her tag work, and it was like, oh, I can defeat the Mandalorians in this way. How'd you come to that? I don't believe you looked at it. I honestly don't think you looked at the painting. I think you looked at their history. I think you did some knowledge. Like I think you were Googling shit. You gotta calm down.
Well, I mean, no, because look at like art majors and art collectors now. Like you can look at an art at a piece of artwork and be like, oh, well, he was going through this. You can tell by the different types of brush strokes or the colors used. Like there is a science behind breaking down a piece of art.
But if I was to
but that would be more. But that would be more based on the artist. That wouldn't be based on the. That would be more based on the artist. That wouldn't be based on that entire culture. That would be on that individual artist. You could break down the individual artist, but I don't think you could break down the entire culture by looking at one artist's pictures. I don't think it could happen.
Darius brought it up too. You can analyze a society. Historians have been doing it for years. Like the old Egyptians and all of that. Granted, there's been a lot of information lost. We lost the library at Alexandria that had so much irreplaceable stuff and knowledge and all of that. Like that's their whole job, is to look at art, to look at buildings and all of this, and to see how a society existed through its art. So,
well, it's not just art. It's like a number of things. I mean, art is definitely included, but
yeah, but I don't see okay, so say you have like the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Sumerians, they all had different types of art. So how could you break down a whole culture of a world in order to defeat a culture based on one set of artwork? That's just too, to me, it's just too outlandish, or it's just,
it necessitates a very homogenous culture. It cannot work with a diverse, like, big culture with a lot of different moving pieces. It has to be like a very like.
Now I could see if he came in and got some artwork from China, he might be able to defeat China based on the artwork, but he wouldn't be able to beat the entire world because our artwork is totally different. Our thought processes are different. I mean, he just couldn't be able to do it. Not to saying that looking at some artwork could not, help you in think about, all right, well, they draw all, you might be like, okay, so I looked at this artwork. Well, that wouldn't even work. Because if you looked at artwork and you see the human in art, okay, these people look like this. So, this will probably be their weak points in their bodies. But then what about an elephant or a dog? Now you got dogs attacking you, or, it's just, there's too many different species on the planet that you could really go in and say, I mean, think about like Coruscant. So Thrawn was gonna overtake Coruscant. They got
Yeah,
some trillion
Coruscant
fucking.
is like a melting pot. That's where
Yeah.
you get a lot of different kinds. It's possible when you have because the Mayans, for example, right? Very in the hills, in the mountains, very kind of isolated. So they did have a lot more homogeny, or however you want to put it, than say the Europeans, right? Where they're a product of lots of mixing of different populations, different technology, different cultures and customs, and that's one of the things that allow them to progress so much. Meanwhile, being isolated kind of puts you back and doesn't allow you to have as much, I guess, diversity and as much progress, just because there's so much of just one culture, right? So I think it kind of depends. If he can find a planet where the cultures are very isolated, then sure, I could see that. Maybe by art you're able to defeat a culture because they're isolated, they don't have a whole lot of mixing and whatever. But when you have a place like Coruscant, where it's like a hub of all these different societies and all this different technology coming together, gonna be pretty tough.
So Darius just says society in Star Wars are planet-wide rather than nationwide. Everything is just scaled up. Well, that's not technically true because look at Naboo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had
There's still isolated cultures like the Gungans.
Yeah, but they're not.
Well, I could see him do it with the Gungans, maybe.
Yeah, or even the people from Naboo, but not if they were working together because there's two totally different cultures there. They have totally different, everything is based on two totally different things. One's an underwater, sea-bearing, culture, and the other one's a land-based culture. It's two different cultures. Now, I'm not taking away from his ability to be a tacticianer. Thrawn is an excellent tacticianer, and he has a great way of figuring things out. But just the way that they played him out in Rebels and in the books, well, not even so much in the books, just basically in Rebels, that he uses artwork. And they did some in the books, but it was more in Rebels that he used the artwork to be able to defeat an entire culture. I'm like, that's just a little bit outlandish there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's a good property, or a good way to look at it. So I think he is a little bit overrated. I'm not going to put him down because we'll see more of him in Ahsoka, which we got some news about that's kind of scary, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. So could artwork help? The artwork exclusively? Yeah, I don't see it happening.
So I agree with you on that one, CJ. I think he is a little bit overrated.
Don't get me wrong. I love his character. Like I started this off with saying, I love his character. I do. I think he has a great basis idea of how they made him, but they did kind of make him a little too OP in some points in his story, and that's where it's kind of like, how is he the overall greatest badass, but he doesn't do it? Like he got his ass kicked by 4 random ass friggin' people. One was a blind Jedi, for God's sakes, before he died. Like, how do you, if you can figure out how to defeat an enemy by looking at their artwork, how could you not look at everything the rebels were doing and not defeat them? That's where I'm at with that.
Especially with the power that he had. He had the entire empire behind him.
Oh, yeah.
And at a point that the empire was in its strongest sense, and you couldn't beat Lothal. One planet. You couldn't beat this one little small planet that was already under Imperial control. And you couldn't beat this little rebel sect that was based upon this one little planet. It just, I guess, once Sako and all them came into the picture and it was a little bit bigger, it made it a little bit harder. But I'm just like, it's a very small area, and it just, but that's just where that's where I think, like, one of my things is that I think that the best thing about Star Wars, and this is my bottom line opinion on this, is that the Force is the best part of Star Wars, because the Force dictates what happens. It doesn't matter how big you are or how strong you are, the Force dictates what happens. Because a lot of that shit was just the Force making things happen. Because it was just too lucky to be luck. It was just way too easy. Like some of the things that the rebels did was just outlandish. It was like there's no way that this is possible that they could do this. Not against a powerhouse like the Empire. There was just no way that they could do it. So that's where the Force comes in, because the Force dictated what was going to happen, not their random acts of insanity they won. It was the Force dictating.
I don't know. I think that underdogs winning is possible.
He's over here snoring.
That's what I was like. That sounds like a dog. Is he?
Damn.
I put him out of the room, but he's in trouble right now.
All right. All right. So should we let Kyle have a turn then?
Yeah.
Well, so, and I kind of threw in mind, I think the Force is the most important part of Star Wars. That's like my bottom line opinion.
I agree.
I think the Force is, without the Force, I don't think Star Wars would be shit. Like, honestly, I think Star Wars
would be another Star Trek.
Yeah, it would be trash without the Force. The Force has dictated everything that's happened within Star Wars. Like everything falls back to the Force. No matter if it's the Mandalorians, no matter if it's the, you know what I'm saying, if it's the Sith, the Jedi, what's happening on Coruscant, the Force is always the balance point of the Force has been pretty much what's captivated the audience within the franchise.
The Force is what makes Star Wars different than any other bullshit sci-fi. You know what I mean? Like, number one. Number two, I think the Force is like a big part of like the driving part of the story and what makes some of the Star Wars movies so good. And I think that's part of the reason that some of like Mandalorian has been kind of rough. The dog in the background.
You're midway through saying something in a sentence.
Look at that.
His paw's just up.
Yeah, no, you're midway through a sentence and all I hear is snoring. I'm like, oh, cool, somebody's thinking this.
And he's just laying over. He's laying on his back. He got his paws up, got one on his nuts. Like, what are you doing?
That's a vibe.
Like he's, I think.
So you talking about me?
Yeah, I think the Force is definitely. It's what makes Star Wars Star Wars.
But you can't fully focus the whole thing on just the Force, because there are other cultures.
Yeah, but even in them other cultures, the entire galaxy. When Obi-Wan said that the Force binds the galaxy together, so everything within that galaxy is affected by the Force.
Yeah.
I mean, even like you go to the Mandalorians, the Darksaber, was the first Mandalorian Jedi. A lot of the things that happen within the Mandalorians is because of the Force. If they didn't attack the Jedi and the Jedi wasn't able to use the Force against them, you know what I'm saying, they would have never acquired Beskar. They would have never found out that Beskar would work against the lightsaber. They would have never created weaponry and stuff to use against the Force. So the Mandalorians wouldn't be who they were. They would be. They might be warfaring people, but they would have never came to the capabilities that they have now without the Force. They created everything to counteract the Jedi's or the Republic's, or the Jedi, because the Jedi were part of the Republic, to counteract the Force. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be using Beskar. They wasn't using Beskar before the Jedi Wars, before the Mandalorian Republic War. They wasn't using Beskar. They had some other shit. They didn't adapt that and start using Beskar until they found out that the other arm of lightsabers could go through. So the Force has basically implemented everything within this entire galaxy. Everything that's happening in this galaxy was all designed because of the Force. So without the Force, you lose everything that makes Star Wars Star Wars. So the Force is the most important faction of Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Force is what brings hope. You You know what I'm saying? With the hope. Without hope, if there was no Force users and just Palpatine and Vader was just doing what they was doing, there would be. You just have to find anybody could have been Luke Skywalker, but you needed somebody that could use the Force to be Luke Skywalker. You know what I'm saying? Palpatine and Vader would have never took over if it wasn't for the Force, because then, you know, the Force is one of the manipulation through the Force, and Palpatine's foresight is what caused him to be able to come to become the Emperor. Everything that the whole Star Wars universe is based on the Force. The Force is the underlying faction that has everything to do with the rest of Star Wars. Without the Force, there is no Star Wars. It would just be some random war. Something. Yeah. It would be Star Trek without the Borg.
I agree. As much as that sucks to hear, CJ, and it's not your Mandalorians. I'm just kidding.
Talk shit all you want.
Well, you gotta sit back and look at it. Like we all question whether or not Din had Force abilities. How does he know when they're about to shoot at him and he just, like, you know what I'm saying, is able to do certain things? Like, we question that. Does Din have the Force? We question other Mandalorians being able to use the Force. That's like the first thing that everybody sees. Oh, they can use the Force. That's the first thing out of everybody's mouth.
Are they Force sensitive?
Are they Force sensitive? Yeah. That's what everybody wants to know out about every character. Look at Jar Jar Binks. God, he's a Sith Lord. That was like the biggest, like, one of the biggest things that ever came out. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants everybody to be Force sensitive. Everybody can't be Force sensitive. Everybody has midichlorians, but you got to have a high enough midichlorian count to be able to utilize them. But you know what I'm saying? To be Force sensitive is like the number one question everybody asks right off the bat. Are they Force sensitive? You know, in the Bad Batch, is the clones Force sensitive? Is Omega Force sensitive? You know, I mean.
And then they get upset, like what happened with Finn. Like, even the actor, you know, he did an interview where he was kind of bashing the way that Star Wars portrayed Finn in, like, the advertisements and everything versus the movies. Is, well, they perceived Finn as this big character who was going to, you know, who was bigger than what he was, and they used that to get that side of the fans, the minority side of the fans. And
it was insincere pandering. Yes.
Going along with kind of what Kyle says, but not about the Force. And it's not talking about it with, like, other people. Apparently, it's not that disagreed with as of an opinion. But I personally think that in most movies, it's really the side characters, the sidekicks, the everything that are more important than the main characters. You have Finn and Poe who do, and Rose even, who do so much more than Rey ever has, outside of just being a main character.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the Force is not influencing the things that are going on.
No, I'm not talking about, like, so it was kind of more not with the Force side of things, but you had mentioned Jar Jar and all of that. Like, yeah, I get it. Everybody hates Jar Jar. I'm the 1% of Star Wars fans that love Jar Jar. It's okay. I've accepted
I like Jar Jar.
It's fine. Oh, thank you. Join the 1%er with us, Garrison. But, like, that's, if you look back at the movies, everything, you have Ahsoka, who's a main character but not. She saves Anakin more times than you could count. R2 does it, 3PO does it, Han and Chewie do it. Like, the main characters are there in name only. Everything is really done by the side characters, by the sidekicks.
Yeah, but even if you go back to if you go back to the arc, to the father daughter, whatever that arc, the Mortis arc, the father says in one of those episodes, the Force controls all. So if the Force controls everything, even if you're not Force sensitive, it's still controlling the outcomes of the things that's happening. That's why it's always been, in my interpretation, of the balance of the Force, because there was too many Jedi and there wasn't enough Sith, so that's why the Force allowed the Jedi to lose in order to balance out the Force because there was too many light side users.
Except I
That's my hot take. That's where I disagree, but we'll get to that.
I disagree too. My only disagreement with that though is it's going back to the exact same thing with today's religion. Like, and I'm not bashing anybody's religion. I'm not bashing anybody's belief.
Let's go.
However, I had
Don't you come at my Jesus. I'm just kidding.
I was raised religious too, Garrison.
I'm just playing with you.
Like, I had this conversation with my mom because, you know, it's a lot of you're in hard times and it's, oh, well, just, you know, believe in God. God's got this. God's got this. God's got this. I don't like that because I am a very precise and precision person. I have to have things like I go by schedules are my best friend, and I love having everything planned out and everything. So you look at it like that as in, oh, well, if he's in control of anything anyway, if the Force is in control of everything anyway, why should I even try doing anything? And I don't like that thought process.
Well, religious based,
free will,
if
all of that.
God does not control anything on the planet. That's a misconception in the Latin terms. It does not. The Bible does not say that. The Quran does not say that. God is not in control. Yeah, some people believe that, but God is not in control of anything. God does not control. Once Adam and Eve did what they did, he don't control anything. Now he might intervene on some things, but he don't control anything. He doesn't do anything. The Force, on the other hand, is in a different aspect. The Force, what the Force does is the Force dictates where the galaxy goes to keep the galaxy in balance. That's what it's always talked about. The Force must be in balance. So as soon as there's an imbalance, the Force corrects that imbalance. Now it uses people in order to correct that imbalance. So if it used Darth Bane and the Ruler 2
no. See, I disagree with that, but
to bring apart, because Darth Bane, you had at that point where Darth Bane, where the Jedi and the Sith were in war, there was way more Sith than there were Jedi. Way more. It was probably 20-1. So Darth Bane killed all the Sith. He killed them all. He had the thought bomb. They got them all on one planet. He killed everybody except a few. There were probably stragglers here and there, but he killed most of them on Rusan. Then it was just him and Rain. They kept the Ruler 2 for a long period of time. Then once it got to a point, if the Force is in control and the Force is dictating light and dark, then there was no way that the Force would allow all the Jedi to be killed. Because you look at the point, you had Darth Vader and you had Darth Vader and you had Palpatine. And when it boiled down to it, at the end of it all, you had the only two Force-sensitive people, Luke and Leia, were the only two Force-sensitive people, and you had Palpatine, and because Obi-Wan was dead and Yoda was dead. So at that point, and you had Ahsoka, but Leia wasn't using her skills yet. She wasn't using the Force. She had the Force because she was being able to, do certain things. But it was balanced. Then you started having the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors is killing off the other Jedi. These are all Force-sensitive people. As they dwindled down, then as Jedi killed, they were just equal. They were all equal. They were slowly dwindling down. And at the end, when you get to the end, you have Rey. And whatever dark side being was left that was sitting up there in Palpatine's leg, because one of those people that were one of the acolytes had to be Force-sensitive. Now you have a perfect balance. It's 1-1. You have a perfect balance. Now it can start over again and rebuild both ways. But it has to be at a complete balance. That's why the Force is always talking. That's why in the Mortis arc they talk about the balance of the Force. They talk about the balance of the Force throughout all the episodes. It's always about the balance of the Force. So the Force has to be balanced by the people that's using the Force. They have the Force abilities to use the Force. That has to be in a balance.
See, I don't think balance in the Force means two Sith, two Jedi. I think that's a different thing. I think the Force balances itself, and it uses people to balance the Force, but I don't think Sith are agents of the Force. The Force is bent by the Sith. because the Sith seek to enact their own will using the Force. So they bend the Force to their will. That's why the Sith, it's like a battery to them, because the Force can only bend so far. So more Sith makes them less powerful because the Force is only going to bend so far, and people can only bend the Force to their own wants and desires so much. The Jedi, on the other hand, are agents of the Force. They don't exercise their own will, or at least ideally they don't. They follow what the Force wants them to do. So
Well, they're supposed to.
balance. Yeah, perfect balance of the Force. In theory. Obviously, Jedis don't always do that. People are not perfect. You're right. People are not perfect. But in theory, the Jedis are seeking to listen to the Force and do what the Force wants to happen. So perfect balance, there would be no Sith. It would be perfect Jedi. But there are not perfect Jedi.
I mean, perfect balance would be no sides. It would be more like a gray zone of, hey, we're Force sensitive. We can.
I think it would be
choose
true
to do
Jedi,
evil.
but we just
can
haven't
choose
seen
to
that
do
because
evil.
people.
We can choose to do good. We can use these awesome powers to do both. And it's really your choice of how you do it. Just like,
Well-
reading the book of the Sith, you see the incantations and everything, and it's like, oh, well, the Jedi would never use this. No, the Jedi would. You just consider it only dark magic because it's they're using it for dark things. You could use this in a good stance, and
I think it comes to like how you're using the Force. If you're using it selfishly, that's probably evil. But if you're using it for like a purpose and you feel the Force is telling you to use it for that purpose, then it's okay. You know what I mean?
Biden's nephew.
Biden's nephew.
The dog's snoring sounds like my uncle's naps.
He said James Mangold movie about the beginning of the Force is a horrible decision. It's not about the beginning of the Force. The Force has always been. Dawn of the Jedi is about the first people that were able to use when the Jedi Order comes together, when they start the original Jedi Order. So from what little bit of information I've got on the thing, they're basically going to use the premise of the book Dawn of the Jedi. So it's going to be more or less, we ain't going to have a lot of lightsabers. It's going to be, I think there's a part that's going to be in the movie where they discover lightsaber through alchemy. But they're going to use a lot of the book as a reference to the movie, to the actual script that was written is actually based on based a lot of the premise of the book. So they're like got regular swords. They're, you know what I'm saying, they're doing a lot of things that are based on the book, and it's about them learning about the Force, and what the Force is. So it's going to be. I have a feeling, and I don't know this part for a fact, but I have a feeling it's going to be on Tython. It's going to be, it's going to be based on Tython. It's going to have the Ashla and the Bogan and more of a balance of the Force and how the Jedi and the Sith split apart. Basically the beginning of the Jedi and the Sith. Not so much, the Force, because the Force has always been, people have been using the Force since the universe was created in Star Wars. This is just going back to when, like, the Jedi and the Sith first became the Jedi and the Sith. So, but I do know that they're using the book as a reference, because there's a interview with Tim that talks about how they asked him if they could use the book as a reference to write the script, and he said that it was okay for them to use the book.
Oh, nice.
So
good.
That's definitely a good thing, because Dawn of the Jedi is a great book. It's one of my favorite books.
I mean, I like it. It's not one of my favorites just because it doesn't have lightsabers in it. But I mean, it makes sense, so I like it.
Well, I would like to see, because you got to think the lightsaber is used very, very exclusively, and it's blocking laser bolts and stuff. Now you got a whole different thing. You got somebody shooting at you, and you got this metal sword. You might be able to deflect it, but after a while, that metal sword is going to get hot. You know what I'm saying? It's going to start messing up that sword.
want them to do, if you're going to bring back Daisy Ridley, instead of having her playing Rey and continuing on that story, have her play in this movie as what's the girl character's name? The Ranger.
What was her name?
But do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, and
I
then
think she should play that character.
And then I have to correct something right quick. So last week, I said the Praetorian Guards had force abilities. The Praetorian Guards do not have force. The Royal Guards had force abilities. They were very slight force abilities, and that was only Palpatine's Royal Guard. The other Royal Guardsmen might not have it, or if they did, they weren't even tested for force abilities. And the actual book is Tales of the Jedi. Or Lords of the Sith. Lords of the Sith. It was Lords of the Sith is the one where they go through Praetorian or the Royal Guard training. They have a character that goes through Royal Guard training in there. It's all about the Royal Guard training.
Yeah, I'd be fine if you bring back Daisy Ridley, but have her be in that role rather than Rey. Because
I don't know. I think that they could have a way stronger female character play. Because you got to remember, what's her name again? Why can't I think of her name? She's a badass. She's a super badass. Like, she's not no fucking punk. You know what I'm saying?
The girl that we're talking
from
about.
Dawn of the Jedi, yeah. What
she's
the hell is her
awesome.
name? Yeah, she's super awesome. I think that they should leave Daisy Ridley, and I think they should continue with the story and bring some
different characters, different actresses.
Huh?
Tasha?
What? Who?
We're talking about Dawn of the Jedi.
Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah, the main character is the main character of the book Dawn of the Jedi was.
I don't remember her name.
Oh God.
Tasha Ryo.
Tasha Ryo. She was a Twi'lek.
No, she wasn't. She was a human female.
She was human.
No. She was human.
Shay? No.
No, it's
Who the flip was it? It's driving me nuts. Oh, because they're going off. Wait, so are they going off the comic book or the novel?
they're going off the actual book.
So the novel. Yeah, that's why.
Novel.
That's why they were going.
Tim Levin's novel. Tim had an interview where they because he said that they asked him if they could use the book as reference.
Okay, so the novel then.
Characters.
Lenore Brock.
Lannery Brock, that's right.
Lannery. That's
Lannery
it.
Brock.
Lannery, that's it.
That's it.
Okay, so Lannery.
Lannery Brock, and then she's going after her brother.
Play her because she's badass. I liked her. She was cool.
I don't know who I'd cast for her. That's a shit. You got to be because she's badass. I mean, she gets she gets jacked up a lot. Like she had to use force alchemy to change her soul into her body that she made by alchemy in the book. So if they use any of that crap in there, it's going to be freaking. That's like you got to be a bad bitch to get blown up, shot so many times, and
yeah, dude. You can't.
And then
do
the Twi'lek was the dude in the book. The Twi'lek was the spy dude.
Yeah, you can't do like Gal Gadot or something. You can't because I'm sorry, she's way too skinny to be a badass Wonder Woman. I'm sorry. You need like a badass bitch. I don't know.
I don't know who. I'd have to really sit down and think about who I'd want to play her because she's soft, but she's hard as hell. Like she's soft. She has some moments within the book, but I'm guaranteed they're just using the book as reference. So they're gonna write an entirely different story, but they're just using the book as reference to like the beginning of the Jedi, like how the Jedi were in the beginning. Now will they start at the very beginning? Or will they start at...
Who's that actress in that movie on Netflix where like she's like millions of years old or whatever? that movie that you watched that you really liked, and I thought it was okay, but she's part of this team that's like super old and doesn't die or whatever.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, and did y'all go over what Star Wars team leader put in the thing earlier? That wasn't Moff Gideon's clone. I mean, that wasn't Moff Gideon. It was one of his clones.
We talked about it. Okay,
I didn't know. I seen it before we started, and I was like, oh.
Oh, Charlize Theron. She could do it. I mean, she might be a little old, but she
Did you
could
say
do it.
she was like 1,000 years old?
No. She's in a movie, and her character's like 1,000 years old. Her character's
okay,
like
I was
immortal.
like, wait, did you just call Charlize Theron 1,000 years old?
No. But she could do it, even though she is a little bit old. But
Even though she is 1,000 years old. What the fuck?
Or the girl from flipping you do the girl from John Wick.
The dog?
Cause she's
The
pretty
girl.
badass.
The girl from John Wick. Which one?
There's like
3?
3 of them.
The second one. Girl.
Second one.
Ruby Rose.
I don't
Ruby
know. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and. I'd really have to sit down.
Ruby Rose.
Ruby
I
Rose
think
can do
that might be
anything
her character
She fucking wants to. She is a goddess.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a hard one. Okay. So I wrote down like 6 or 7.
She is. Tori, she is.
I wrote down like 6 or 7
I would go to prison for her.
of that. I would say is my bottom line opinions about Star Wars. So I don't know if y'all want me to just run them off right quick, and then y'all can just say whatever.
Garrison, did you have any more?
What's up?
Did you have?
I mean, I kind of talked more about mine, but
I had one more, and I kind of talked about it, but it was also kind of taken a different way. That dog, your dog is killing me. So if you see me,
Shake the fuck out of him. Hey, stupid.
if you see me laughing or like snickering or anything, I promise I'm not laughing at what anybody is saying. I'm laughing solely at the fact that the dog.
See, if I was on my microphone, you wouldn't be able to hear it. Stupid microphone. Because he was doing it last time when I was in here. He was in here, and
It's okay. When CJ was out of town, I called. We were
His face is like, whoa, bro. What the
Here's
hell?
my bottom line. Darth Vader is so underrated and so badly misrepresented in the TV
Yes.
shows. He needs to be way more badass.
Yes.
What are you talking about? He had the most malicious scene in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He did, but imagine
Nah,
that
dude.
scene.
He is
but
so
much
throughout
more
his
powerful than that.
entire existence.
He got
The
stopped
hallway
by
scene.
fire.
The first
The
time you
ground
see
set on
Vader,
fire,
he's
and he-
choking a
oh,
fucking
no.
rebel in a hallway.
Okay, but then after that, it just kind of goes downhill with Vader. There's really
I think
nothing
that
other
they-
than he's
I'm talking
asthmatic.
about,
Honestly-
you know the book where he's surrounded by like an entire squadron of rebel soldiers, and they're like, "Stop, Vader! You're surrounded." And he's like, "All I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men," and just
Right,
goes
that is
beast
the
mode. That's what I'm looking
Badasses.
for.
That's
He
one
is
of the things
fucking
that-
insane.
that's the movie that I want to see.
Yes,
I
would
want to
love
see.
it.
I would love to see a Darth Vader movie like in between this time period where he is hunting down Jedi's and killing them.
And you
That-
know
Motherfucking
that
people up.
everybody that was surrounding him when he said that collectively shat their pants at the same time. Like
Yeah,
they
dude.
all fucking did it. They all were like, "Oh shit, my stomach!" Like
Nobody's been nerfed more than Vader.
and then you look at him in the movies, and yeah, there's a couple badass scenes, but for the most part, he's an overgrown asthmatic robot.
Yeah.
He's an asthmatic C-3PO.
You're an overgrown asthmatic freak who needs some loving.
Exactly. No,
That's
wait,
from a
the
song.
reason-
That's. Have you seen Epic Rap Battles of History?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can
Vader versus
I-
Hitler. That was the
That's-
funniest shit.
So something was said a couple weeks ago, and I just went into the entire rap. I have 1, 2, and 3 of Hitler versus
Yes.
Vader memorized.
Sad asthmatic robot freak who needs some loving. But I baked you something. Here, pop it to my oven. Oh, I'm sorry.
So good.
I baked
Anyways,
you something. Here, pop into my oven.
All right.
You need
Vader-
your
yeah, we
style
need-
smells something sour. I think you need to wash up, dog. Here, step into my shower.
yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, Darth Vader. We need some good, accurate depictions of the true badassery that Darth Vader is capable of.
All right.
So
I
got
ahead, go
one.
ahead, go.
I got one. Okay, and I kind of hit onto it a little bit, but it kind of went the way of the Force. I strongly believe that the main characters are not the story of Star Wars. You look at the side characters, and they carry the entire franchise. Finn, Poe, Rose, even for a while there.
You think
Rose
Finn
was-
carried that franchise?
Okay, no, but like everything that happened, not like carried the franchise, but like everything that happened that led Luke to taking control, or like Luke taking, words, English, credit, there we go. Taking credit for like doing all of the cool shit, it was all Luke. Like, no, you had Han, who was the best pilot in the galaxy, who was the reason that Luke was able to get places. Han and Leia and Lando saved Luke on numerous occasions. You have Poe, Finn, and Rey, or not Poe, Finn, and Rey, Poe, Finn, and
Rey.
Rose, who is just following Rey along on her journey of self-discovery.
Oh yeah, Rey's trash. I'll agree with you in the sequels.
And they
Rey
did
is
everything.
trash.
You have like in the prequels, granted, like the whole thing was about how Anakin. No, Daddy Wan Kenobi was the sequels or the prequels.
Yeah, but he was a main character.
He was. But like you look at it, like it's not so much in the sequels a whole lot. Like yeah, you have a lot of like Jar Jar and R2 and all of that.
I don't know if there was a true main character in any of the Star Wars, if you really think about it, because it was based on multiple characters achieving a goal. You know what I'm saying? So there wasn't really like, I mean, because if you would think about it, the main characters is kind of like who you see first. So if you really think about it, the main characters of all Star Wars was C-3PO and R2-D2, because they were in every single
By
movie.
that logic, you're right. No, but I see Tori's point, because like if you think about it, like with the Death Star battle, like especially in Episode 6, whether Luke won or lost that battle, the Death Star was blowing up.
Yeah, like there was.
So like I could kind of see what she's talking about in that aspect.
Like Luke did nothing. Like okay, he didn't do nothing, but like the amount of things that he did versus the rebel pilots and everything else, like it pales in comparison. The pilots are really the ones, all the X-wing fighters, the everything.
So
they're really the ones that saved the galaxy.
And to attest to this, I was listening to the Wedge and Tilly's books that they have of Rogue Squadron. He states that in the book. He's like, if it wasn't for me and my pilots, Luke wouldn't have gotten in that trench.
Yeah, I don't think
He's
there's.
like, Luke Skywalker, mighty Jedi, gets all the
Right.
credit for destroying the Death Star,
And
but
that's-
it was me defending his fucking ass while he was in the
I
trench.
think that
And
goes
that's
Same thing
credit
with
to,
Lando.
I think that goes credit to like what the name of Star Wars was. It wasn't Adventures of Luke Skywalker or whatever. It's Star Wars. It's a war. It's not just like this Jedi. It's all these people. It takes all these people to win a war. You know what I mean?
And it's just turned like if you go to say GameStop or whatever, like you can find Han, you can find Leia, you can find Luke, like you can find ample of these main characters. But you can't find like random star pilot number 5. Like you can't find X-wing pilots. You
And if
can't
you do-
outside of Wedge.
And if you
not
do-
saying Wedge isn't a badass.
But if you do, you find like Dave Filoni's character or George Lucas's characters. And that's where I'm at with that. Is like
Well, just because those characters aren't like memorable, you know what I mean?
But like that's
Like when you think of Star Wars, you don't think of
Like,
Squadron Pilot 4, Red
no,
Dawn.
yeah, you're right.
You know
No
what I'm
little
saying?
girl, no little girl dreams of like when I grow up, I want to be TIE Fighter pilot number 7.
I want to be TIE Fighter pilot Porkins. I want his toy. Like
You know, they go after characters. That's why characters have names. The characters with names are people that actually matter within the story. The other characters are just kind of
I
there.
mean, even if you look at like all of the pilots did have names. Like even if you go just off of like their call names, Red 5, Red 7, Red what the fuck ever.
Yeah, but there's too many of them.
Yeah, but like there's, and then you look at like, I'm talking about like main characters, as in you think of the sequels, you immediately think Rey. The story was Rey's story,
Oh,
just like
so
how the originals was Luke's stories. It was Luke's story, and
Well, if you let George say it, it was Anakin's story. All of them were the prequels and the originals was Anakin's story.
But if you outside of George, like if you ask somebody who's just a Star Wars fan, not like in depth like we are, that we overanalyze everything, but it's, hey, really quick, who is the main character of The Force Awakens? Oh, Rey. Who is the main character of Return of the Jedi? Like it's all going to be that one main character.
Return of the Jedi might be a mix between Luke and Vader.
But,
what are you talking about? 3PO. What are you talking about? They have a damn shrine of 3PO on Endor.
But
They built the motherfucker a
that's-
throne.
like,
They
and
built the
then-
motherfucker!
Like, you have
They
random
built
star
the
pilots.
motherfucker.
You have random star pilots. You have random bounty hunters. All of that. You have droids out the ass, and I appreciate the droids and their work. But like that's everybody's like, oh, cool, it's fucking droids, whatever. Nobody likes droids.
Droid
like,
rights.
droids
Well, actually,
were the
because I
reason-
mean,
I'm with L3. Go free, save your brothers. Like.
Well,
you know, and it kind of depends on what you're talking about, because if you really think about it, the two main like electronic things that are probably the most well-known with like ships and stuff like that, people would say the Death Star or the Millennium Falcon. You know what I'm saying? You ask somebody about what ship do you know in Star Wars, they're going to say the Millennium Falcon. Everybody knows about the Millennium Falcon. So, I mean, it just depends on the way you look at it. And I mean, because there's a lot of things that would get way more like it's a ship. Why does anybody care? But everybody knows about it.
But you go even into like the side movies where you got Solo and
Solo. Okay, I'm
Rogue One, all of that. Like, not saying Cassian isn't a badass, but Cassian wasn't the sole singular reason. He had a team that got put together, and really, there's nothing else about the teams. Like, it's not one person doing everything. It's a group, but only one person gets the credit. It's like a high school group project. But I personally think that the side characters and the sidekicks are more instrumental and more of main characters than the main characters actually are.
I think it's a combined. I think it's just
I
combined
think it's
together.
a group effort. But...
It's a group effort that made it look good. Okay, I'm gonna rattle these off right quick, and then y'all can either just say yes, no, whatever. Boba Fett is the worst Star Wars content ever.
Yes.
No.
Kenobi was the worst visuals I've ever seen.
Yep.
I wouldn't say worst visuals I've ever seen, but it's
Worst
the
camera
second worst.
Worst camera work I've ever seen.
Star Wars are the Sith are the most powerful Force users.
Whoop, whoop.
The sequel trilogy was trash,
Yep.
True.
and Rebels had the best storyline of all the animated series.
Who?
Wait, go
The
back.
last one
I
was
missed
not
it.
audible.
Okay, the last one was Rebels had the best storyline of all the animated series.
Rebels
No.
is the best storyline of all the animated series.
I can
Who had a better storyline? They don't even have a story.
Man, you get all, you get so heated when you get into that defense. I couldn't understand you.
It's a
you
great
sounded like you were
storyline. that
right
gets
here eating
lost.
the mic.
It's the only animated series out of all the animated series that even has a storyline. The rest of them don't even like. The Clone Wars was all over the place, constantly. There were so many fluff episodes that it was crazy. You got Well, I don't know. It might. Because
Rebels had a
Resistance
had a better
Resistance had a good storyline. It just Resistance had probably the best storyline. It just that storyline was garbage, so it doesn't work.
And to go back to my thing, Chopper was the main character of Rebels.
Chopper was a great character in Rebels, but actually it was based on Ezra.
It was based on.
I'm aware.
You're in it.
But it had the best storyline of all the animated series. Because it actually flowed, the whole story flew. They kept on point. Okay. So I think everybody agreed on the ones I just said. That's I won't change I might change my mind. If somebody comes out with something better, I'll always change my mind. But right now, that's where it stands.
I'm open. Yeah.
We got some news. And
We do.
I got a few things, some rumors, and some stuff that's been released that is pretty interesting. Do you guys want to get to news and rumors?
Hit the button.
Do it.
This is Alton Castle for the only news you need, the HoloNet News.
I'm done.
What happened?
I literally was like, I don't want you.
ranting.
I was literally, I don't want you a part of this show no more. Steal my chair. Steal the headset I use. Steal my fucking catchphrase.
They're my headphones.
Hit the button's my thing.
All right, what y'all?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
What does Hasbro got coming? What toy news do we got?
Troubles
Give me
in
a sec to
paradise.
pull it up.
Oh,
I just had it.
I
pulled
was
up.
gonna do toy news since I steal everything.
Okay, well I guess I'll go first because this is kind of
Sorry.
this is kind of out there.
All right.
Ahsoka Lars Markelson says you won't know what the whole show is about until the last scene of the show.
I don't like that.
That scares the shit out of me.
Whoa.
I'm in.
How is that any
danger.
different than the last season of Bad Batch and the last season of Mando?
Like that really scared the shit out of me. Like, oh god, because
That's
like
not a good thing.
I mean we kind of knew what Mandalorian was going to be
That's
about.
not something you brag about.
We kind of knew that Mandalorian was about overtaking Mandalore. It just was like bullshit on how they did it, but it was like, all right, whatever. Which that's another
That's not
thing
something
that,
to brag about. We don't have
That's-
the plot until the last episode.
like that, to me, it just, like, I mean, we kind of know what the plot is, that Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn and Ezra. But to not know what it's really about until the very last scene, that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you gonna have what?
Flex.
You gonna have 7 fucking fluff episodes, and then the 8th episode just gonna be amazing, and we're gonna find out what the rest of it was about. Like, I don't want that scares the shit out of me. Like, oh, please don't let this be terrible.
That is not a good thing to hear.
That is not a good thing at all. That scared the shit out of me when I was reading. I was like, oh my god. Then I went and listened to the.
How
I
could
read
they
the interview,
possibly
the
think that's
whole
a good
interview
thing to
itself.
say?
Because I'm like, all right, I know people will say shit, you know what I'm saying, on the thing. So I actually went and read the article, and he does say that. He's like, ain't nobody gonna know what it's about until the very last scene. Like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh hell no, that's gonna be very
Thank
bad.
God.
So, I got one.
Oh
I
no.
got
Kyle-
one
You didn't
thing.
sound happy when you said that either.
Kyle
I'm not
may
happy.
be right. John Boyega is in talks of coming back for Rey's
Oh
new
yeah, I
movie.
saw that.
Yeah, it's a rumor, but it's rumored. But at the same time, there's been a lot of stuff popping about John Boyega talking about he forgave the fans. There's been a lot of news about
Of
John
course he
Boyega.
did, because they're in talks of making a new one. He goes, wait, more money? Oh yeah, I forgive you.
I haven't
So-
been anything since the last one. Definitely.
Yeah. You know, come to think of it, millions of dollars wasn't that bad.
So I'm pretty sure he's coming back. I don't know about Poe. There hasn't been anything about Poe coming back at all. He ain't put nothing up online. There isn't
I wasn't the
nothing.
one complaining about how badly he was treated.
But I have something right here that's probably gonna piss a lot of people off. The Mandalorian season 3 was rated the lowest season of Mandalorian on all metrics. The fans only gave it a 6.5 out of 10 overall, compared to an 8.9 season 2 and a 9.4 season 1.
I told you, damn it!
Wait a second. Wasn't our group
But Kyle,
average
we're not looking at the right.
6.5?
No, that's out of all of them. That's not just Rotten Tomatoes. That's what Matrix.com put out
He's
as
asking what our
everybody.
average.
No,
IMDb.
No, Kyle, she's asking what our lightsaber radio average.
Yeah.
It was 6.5 or 6.6 or something like that.
Yeah, so we were right there with the
Yeah. So overall, which compared to season 2, it was an 8.9 and season 1 was a 9.4.
Kyle, you're not looking at the right metrics. It doesn't matter.
That's all the metrics. They went through Rotten Tomatoes, they went through IMDb, they went through like 100 different rating systems, and the average was a 6.5.
But Kyle, it doesn't matter what the metrics are. It matters how many people watched the trailer. Okay.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, dude, it was bad. I'm sorry.
Right.
It was
6.5 overall. And then
Keep your eyes out at Target, Walmart. The 40th anniversary toys are coming out.
That's a good thing.
They
for all the collectors.
They're gonna have pet packs, fanny packs, stuffies, lightsabers, action figures, collectible boxes, all.
What is
Your
that?
Twitch.
You can see him? I can't even see him. Oh, he's right there. Bro, this whole time, I didn't know that brown spot was the
He flicks the lightsaber out to poke him.
he's laying on the dark saber. I would have grabbed that.
Just like point proven. We're the main characters, but really the dog is carrying the show.
Get out of here.
But no, just keep your eyes out. I mean, we've already caught one, and it was your Wicket toy.
Yeah. So, wait, was it the?
I'll grab it.
It was that. Okay. So there is, yeah. So we found one. It was at GameStop. It's a Wicket. It's a Wicket. Also, there is running around. I have it because it's Wicket. You can find Wicket Pops that come with really cool stuff. This one came with a pin. Another one that I saw came with like a little like shirt or something. I can't remember what it was.
Also keep your eyes out at stores. Like look at the back of these boxes because a lot of Celebration stuff is migrating from London to here to be in stores.
Yep.
I found a Celebration exclusive R2D2 and R5 Funko Pop that is from
set.
London. It's a double set from London Celebration.
That's cool.
Also, to expand a little bit on the toy news that I did on Wednesday with the R5 that's coming out, if you actually get the R5, it's really cool. It comes complete with a bad motivator and a leg that pops down.
What does that mean?
Do you not remember in A New Hope?
Yeah, how does it come with a bad motivator?
It pops out.
It pops
Oh,
out.
really?
It's a little cell.
Yeah, so,
Oh, okay.
So on the top of them, this is obviously R2, but on the top it has these panels. Well, one of these panels, you push on it, and the bad motivator comes out.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. I was like, how do they do that? Okay, that makes
It
sense.
was funny. I was like, it comes with a bad motivator.
That's cool.
And a third leg that drops down so it can do its rolly thing.
Okay, Jeff Snyder, an actor who was attached to the Aboy Chinoy, however you say their name, movie dropped out when Lindelof dropped out. The movie starts pre-production and casting in August and will be released in 2025. So they already lost one of the writers, and now they lost one of the actors.
Great news.
So that's a little bit concerning to me on why they're losing, why people are dropping out. Lindelof actually stated, if you go to the news, there's a bunch of news. He actually in an interview said why he stopped out because he didn't think it was a very strong story. Wow. And
yep, that makes sense, dude. That's the biggest problem right now is weak stories.
The opening crawl to Star Wars movies is coming back officially.
I didn't ever know it left.
So,
I mean, I know it wasn't in Andor and it wasn't in
well, because those are TV shows.
Solo. No, Andor. I mean, Rogue One and Solo. But I thought it was only in like the spin-off movies.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in Star Wars movies, not like spin-offs, right?
Yeah, no, it's so.
It was in all the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kennedy said that it wouldn't be appearing in any other non-movie projects, but the crawl is coming back.
Yeah, I mean, anything that has to do with like a Star Wars movie, but I'm like Solo, a Star Wars movie. That's not really, it's Solo. It's a spin-off movie. It's a solo, it's a standalone movie. So I don't, like, if it's a standalone movie.
Because that's what we've been missing. That's why the recent Star Wars movies have been bad. It's missing the Star Wars
crawl. So, yeah, that was kind of a. That makes me, if Lindelof, which is a pretty good writer and director, if he dropped out because of the story not being strong, and then actors are dropping out for the same reason, that kind of concerns me. Like, oh no, man, they gonna come out with a crappy movie.
I mean, if actors who are desperate for money don't like the movie, it must be pretty bad.
Forrest Whitaker came out.
Whitaker.
Yeah.
Whitaker. Yeah.
Whitaker.
No, I got
Whitaker.
you.
Whitaker.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Shut up. Well, names are hard. No, I wasn't trying to make fun of her. It's good.
I haven't had
good.
coffee. My nose is stuffed. I'm just driving the damn struggle bus today. Leave me alone.
I'm sorry.
Freaking Forrest!
What happened to Whitaker?
Whitaker has confirmed that he is coming. That Saw Gerrera is coming back in Andor season 2.
Well,
Yay!
I kind of expected that.
Whitaker.
He was in Rogue One, so he got to be in. You know what I'm saying? He has to be back in Andor. It just makes sense.
All right.
And they're the Visions, as everybody knows, they're non-canon. Even though they were produced by Disney, Disney's like, no, they're not canon. They're just fun stories. Although Filoni said that they still haven't made a decision whether they're fully canon or not. There are some of them that would fit beautifully in the canon universe.
Well, a lot of stuff that's not canon is coming to canon. So, Dawn of the Jedi is not canon.
Which is getting a season
2. Yeah, Visions is getting a season 2. They played the trailer at.
So is Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi.
Just
Well,
need to turn around and do Tales of the Sith.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
they do.
Well, I guess Tales of the Jedi, because, you know what I'm saying, most of the way they act, like most of the Jedi, all the Jedis that are, all the Sith turned was bad Jedis. It turned to Sith. So, what are you talking about?
And I am still disappointed for a 40th week in a row that there is nothing about the Night Sisters coming out in Star Wars news.
There's.
Come on, Lucasfilm, get onto it. You got a huge opportunity here. Night Sisters are cool as shit. Get after it.
That's your hot take.
They are. They are the coolest, and there was nothing done with them.
Yeah.
So, are we ready to get on? Anybody else got any
no,
news?
I have some
Oh,
news.
because I didn't have any. That's all I had.
Star Wars Andor filming was canceled.
Yeah, because of weather.
Because of the weather in Dorset Quarry. So, I mean, not a huge deal, but, I mean, that's a delay, so who knows what that's going to do to the end.
It didn't get
and then we
canceled,
already
just
went over
postponed.
Don Boyega. You guys stole that
They-
from me.
Yeah. Basically,
Well,
they stopped
It was
filming
postponed. This one said it was canceled.
Yeah, canceled.
So,
but it's,
I mean, they're
if you
probably
read the
gonna
article,
later, but
if you really read the article, it was just they canceled like a week's shooting because of the weather or whatever. It wasn't like
and
totally
then
canceled.
Daniel Craig's daughter is apparently obsessed over Star Wars.
Beautiful.
So
Just like he
that's
is.
cool.
Daniel Craig is a
Starting
huge
him
Star
young.
Wars nerd.
He was in Star Wars.
Yeah, and they're bonding over it. Yep. He was in Star Wars.
Yeah, he was in Force Awakens.
Yeah, he's a huge Star Wars nerd. That's like the epitome of like all Star Wars nerds is to open up their email and be like, "Hey, would you like to be in a Star Wars movie?" And they're like, "Oh my god!"
I'll sell my left testicle to be in a Star
Sure,
Wars
my left
movie.
testicle.
Why not? Why not the right one, Kyle? Are you?
I'm attached to the right
to
one.
it?
Yeah, I'm attached to it. I can't give up the right one. Only the left.
That's
one.
where all his kids came from the right one. The
I
left
want
one
no more
hasn't
kids.
done anything.
No, you can tell. Like if you look, like I have 2 kids. Okay, you can tell the amount of difference between the 2 kids. It's like, nope, you came from one, you came from the other. Like there is no way you guys came from the same batch.
Damn.
Well, like,
When I
if you
have
look
kids,
at
we're gonna conduct an experiment.
If you
I'm
look
gonna
at
put my
Phoenix,
nuts next to their head and be like, "Which one do you look like?"
well, no. So like Phoenix she's not saying Cass is.
We're
smart,
teabagging for
yes.
science.
Cass is smart, just in his own way. He's a different kind of smart.
He's smart in his own way. That means he's stupid.
That's just glorified stupidity.
That's just a nice way to say this kid's a dumbass.
And I love
Then he
my-
said, "Left one just a floater." Oh, because the right one's attached.
No, but like Phoenix is incredibly smart. Like she comes home and she'll tell me something and be like, "Dude, how the fuck do you know that? I didn't even know that." And like just how she thinks about things and like breaks things down, she constantly amazes me. And she's so polite. She is always really good with her manners. Some days she's a little bit whiny, but she still uses her manners when she whines. Cass, however, regularly runs full sprint into door frames and then like jukes the door frame, like steps at it trying to fight it. Like
They didn't come from different testicles. He's just a boy and she's just a girl.
Y'all should have seen. So
Okay,
I'm
you
outside.
really just say he ran into a door frame and he tried to punk it out. You did too. You did too. I watched her. She literally hits it, turns around and goes, "Fucking move!" And like, it's a door frame. It's attached to the house. You can't punk a door frame, bro.
I didn't talk to it.
All right, are we ready? We got any more news?
No, that's it.
God, no more.
Quiz?
Yep, let's get to the quiz.
Quiz.
Stop right there, you rebel scum. Prepare yourself for the Star Wars Impossible quiz. Blast them.
Hey, did you know that the knee pad's on the wrong side?
Fuck you.
She keeps stealing my work.
My work.
Okay. Question number 1. What was Saul Guerrero's sister's name?
Who got it?
Shane?
Oh, you're down.
Who got it? That was his sister. Okay. Boo, got it, Guerrera.
That makes sense. They'd go together.
I have no idea.
Like, my sister came from the other. My sister came from the other testicle, so I had to keep a lookout for her for the rest of her life.
Yep, she's a lefty. She's a lefty.
I'm now
She's
gonna
a
start
lefty.
doing that. Somebody's gonna do something, be like, "You came from the left side, didn't you?"
I'm gonna be like, you came from a left testicle, didn't you? You came from a left testicle, didn't you?
Austin came from a left one. Didn't he?
I think Austin
I'm
came
sorry. I'm sorry. Saw. Let's go. Hammer Guerrera.
No.
No, Chain
No, that's not
Guerrera.
girly
'cause
enough.
Chain, you have Chain, and then you have her older brother Saw.
Chainsaw.
I get
somebody
it. I
caught
get
it.
it. I get it.
Okay, her name was Steela.
That's
Stila Guerrera.
Stila and Saw.
Oh.
Damn.
At least
Who
it wasn't
named
a
these
nickel
children? Who named these
All right.
children? That's awful.
They're weird parents.
Saw. a small engines mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2. Who was a separatist general that sent his droid troops to Agamara because he thought their order to shut down was a Republic trick?
Trench.
No idea.
I've
Nope.
Trench.
Not a clue. Not a
Nope.
clue.
All I know is Grievous, Trench.
Steve.
Steve, that's a.
Or
Steve's a dick.
Rex actually meets this general in Rebels.
That's you.
and his name is John Cena.
So done with you people.
I don't know. I
I
have
am
no
so
idea.
taking a nap after this.
Okay, it's General Kalani, the
Kalani.
droid general that they fight. Ezra, Rex, and Kanan fight these droids and rebels because they never shut down.
Never saw Rebels.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I feel bad.
this one should be easier. Y'all should get this. What did Leia ask Han to do with the last time she ever saw him?
Smile.
No, bring
Last
Ben
time
back.
she ever said.
I know.
Oh yeah, bring our
Bring
son
Ben
home.
Yeah,
Just
bring home
My
their
pussy.
son. Okay.
Smile.
Eat my pussy.
You broody fuck. Smile.
You look better when you smile. Ugh.
How did Rio Durant, the full-on pilot of Beckett's crew, become part of that crew?
Who?
The four-armed pilot, the dude that was piloting the ship when they were escaping, the one that gets shot and killed?
Okay. Yeah.
He broke Beckett out of jail.
Nope.
He stole Beckett's ship.
He beat
Yeah,
Beckett
sort
in
of.
the game.
Yeah, he's Baby Driver. He stole his ship and
Nope. Oh, you're pretty close, CJ, but it's not a ship.
he stole
He
his
stole
car. his
Beckett's
speeder.
speeder.
It's speed or what?
By
What? Bike.
Yeah.
Damn.
He was caught stealing Beckett's speeder bike.
That's so.
That's my.
Okay. What is the name of Effie's Nest pirate suit bike game?
What?
Ifney Nest, the Ifney,
If
Memphis.
Memphis, how you say that shit? What is the name of her suit bike gang?
I have no idea.
No clue.
Terrorists.
Terrorist.
The Powder Puff Girls.
They actually say it in the movie.
Hell's Angels.
Nope.
The crypto gang.
Nope.
Yeah, I got no idea.
Nope. Can't think of it.
Come on, chat.
The-
Y'all got it?
The
Runners.
Nerf Herders.
Hey, that's our word.
They were called Cloud Riders.
Cloud Rider.
Oh,
Lame.
you can have
Okay.
a cooler gang name.
That sounds like a girl group.
It's right up there with the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
I was close, yeah. I think we should
Okay.
get that one for me.
Question number 6. Captain Rex's helmet is decorated with jag eyes. Where else do you see that design?
Mandalorians.
Nope.
It
On his
comes from the
jockstrap.
Mandalorian culture.
Well, I mean, there's another place that you see them that's like,
On arrow signs?
Didn't
Nope.
hear me. Didn't hear me. Damn it.
it's on another character.
Heavy?
Nope.
No.
You said on Rex?
Yeah,
his
Captain Rex's
eyes?
helmet is decorated with jag eyes. Where else do you see that design? Or who else uses that same design?
A few Mandalorians.
Get off the Mandalorians.
I don't know, dude. On a cat.
Nope.
I don't know.
Kanan?
A Mandalorian.
It's
of some
Kanan, but
kind.
what is it about Kanan?
It's his helmet.
It's on Kanan's mask after he is blinded
Yeah,
by
after he's
Maul.
blinded, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't
I was
seen
trying to think of where else I see it
that
because I've seen it a few
far yet.
different times.
Who is the highest decorated TIE fighter pilot in the Imperial Lothal Imperial Navy?
Darth Vader.
I mean,
we're not wrong.
there's no.
Puts the medal on himself.
At least he got a medal.
Thinks he's a master now.
What do y'all got? Y'all got something?
No.
I don't know.
George, Robert, Fred.
TIE Fighter
Baron-
4217.
Baron Valen Rador.
What?
Baron Valen Rador.
Well, he doesn't have
Baron.
names.
Oh, Baron. That makes sense. Like the Red Baron.
Yeah. In the battle, question number 8. In the Battle of Scarif, who was in charge of hooking up the stolen shuttle to the Imperial Communication Network?
Bodhi.
Bodhi what?
Bodhi Rook.
Yep.
Wow, good
What
job.
was the Battle of Scarif again?
On board Snoke's flagship, the Supremacy, there were special navigators that were hired in the unknown regions. What were they called?
Skywalkers.
Nope.
No, I was just guessing. That was the first one. You said special navigators.
Ground
I thought of the
walkers.
Chiss. It made sense to me.
Does make sense, but it's not the right answer.
Air hostesses.
They're Ewoks.
Flight attendants.
Ewoks.
There's flight attendants. Can I get you some water? Flight attendants.
More peanuts. More peanuts.
Tom. Nope.
Wampas.
Nope.
Navigators.
Partially.
Flight attendant navigators.
Lincoln Navigators.
Nope. Navigator is in the name. It's something navigator.
Flight of the Navigators.
No. It's so simple. Snoke's navigators.
I hate everything.
You
I'm
fuck.
done.
Is that really Snoke's navigators? Fuck you.
Yeah,
dude.
that's what they're called.
That's
Everything
so
else
cheap.
in Star Wars has the coolest fucking names, and then you reach Snoke, and he's like,
And then
"Oh
these
yeah,
guys
that's
like,
my
"You're just gonna be
navigator.
Snoke's
That's my
navigators." Fuck
door."
you.
Okay,
Give it
question
up.
number 10. Last question. Last question. In The Last Jedi, we see Luke milking a Thrilla siren, then drinking the milk. But the people on Octo have another name for them. What is that name?
Cow.
They're
Octolus?
sisters.
Moo elephants.
Big, great, ugly things.
Girelephants.
Girelephants.
Look at his dog.
I don't even. What are they called again? What's the other name for them?
Thala sirens.
Alice.
C is in it.
I-
Lenny and Star Wars team
C
leader,
is
C
in
is in it. Yeah, C is in it.
Sea-doos.
Nope.
Chalk munchies. I don't know.
Okay.
Shut
The good stuff, J-Dog. They're called sea salves.
Oh.
So they are named sea salves.
They're called
And that's
C-sections.
And that's it.
That was a
for
tough
the-
one, Kyle. Jeez Louise.
I'll try to throw some
got
easy ones in.
three. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
So
I
what
didn't know
about
any
that
of them.
giveaway?
Okay.
Okay.
CJ Smart.
Yeah. All right, my friends. We are coming up on the end of the show. But before we get to that, the fun doesn't stop. Because tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. we are hosting Revenge of the Sith Watch Party. Join us as we relive the epic conclusion of the prequel trilogy together. And that's not all. As special treat for our viewers, we will also be giving away an autographed puzzle that I put together myself, and it will be autographed by me. This puzzle.
I almost bought that puzzle.
Mando.
The Mando made
And
it.
all you have to do to enter is simply share this video on your social media with the hashtag LightSaber Radio. Because I can check all the hashtags on all the different stuff in there. We can figure out. And we'll do a random drawing tomorrow during the watch party. And we will see who wins it. Okay, so that's all you got to do. Just
So what do I have to do?
all they got to do is go on any social media and put in the hashtag lightsaber radio. And then I'll search the hashtag and all the different posts will come up. And then that's how, and then tomorrow we'll use a randomizer and we'll randomly select the winner. Real simple. Ain't too hard. Just share this video and use the hashtag lightsaber radio. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Only people who are live watching can do this thing.
Well, anybody that watches it later on, or
I guess that's
you know
true.
what I'm
They
saying,
can watch
anybody
it.
that watches it can share.
So if you're listening to this on Spotify, that sucks. You better listen soon.
If you
Well, you can listen tomorrow
a
morning.
listener on Spotify where you don't see us and you can't share the video, shoot us a message with your favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah, you can do that.
Why are you making executive decisions?
Oh, they can do that.
CJ's like,
Just whatever you do, whatever you're doing, you have to use the hashtag lightsaber radio, because I can use hashtag search on Google and it'll pull up everywhere that hashtag is being used, and then I can look at the post.
he's like, bitch, who made you the Senate?
That was special.
I'm sorry, that was funny.
And tomorrow it'll run all the way up till 10 o'clock my time tomorrow, so 10 o'clock Central Time. And then at 10 o'clock Central Time, I'll go through and get all the names, and then we will go on and then we will do the wheel on the thing so everybody can see who wins. And then once you win, I'll email you or email us and tell us, and then I'll get all the information. We'll figure that out tomorrow. But right now, that's all you got to do.
J-Dog, so when this video gets posted onto YouTube, share the video to like your social media, your Facebook, your Twitter, your what the fuck ever, as long as you use hashtag lightsaber radio, all
Lightsaber radio spelled out.
Lightsaber radio spelled out, not LSR. Lightsaber radio. That's all you gotta do. Share it, lightsaber radio.
And then, because I can use hashtag search. I have a hashtag search on my computer that will search the hashtag, and anything that's posted with hashtag lightsaber radio will come up. So that's how I will get all the everybody's put anywhere. Yeah,
And
no
you can
lightsaber
only do
radio.
it once, one entry, no bombarding lightsaber radio.
That's all right. Put it out as many times as you want. I don't care.
You only get one entry though. You can't have 14 entries.
You don't tell him that. You
Well,
let
this
them
Let them do it, and then because if you got, if say J-Dog puts out, unless you want to create 300 different Instagram posts, because I'm only going to be the Instagram users, which some people will probably do that. I've had people do that before, but if you win, you win.
Hashtag lightsaber radio, not LSR.
Yeah. Now you can do it as many times as you want. It just, I'm only going to use your name once. So if you got 300 different Instagram things, you use all 300 of them. I don't care. But you're only going to get one name. I'm only choosing one name. So if you got J-Dog, 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 and you can do it on multiple platforms. You can do it on Facebook, do it on Instagram, do it on Twitter. That's the way you can do it multiple times. Do it on each one. Wow. Because like I said, it's just going to pull up all the different ones anyway when I pull up the hashtag. So I think that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and may the force be with you.
And make good choices.
Never.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you've enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. LightSaber Radio is produced by PicFilm Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Garrison Turcotte, CJ Elliott, and Kyle McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.